Should okay. Kindly switch on your videos. Should we wait for another 10 minutes for students, or should I start the class? As you wish.
We wait for 5 minutes at least, ma'am.
Okay. You can switch off the videos. Thank you. Hanji. Today is 29th. And let me take first attendance. Mahima, are you there?
Yes,
Sunil. Sunil.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Available.
Okay. Chandrika.
Yes, ma'am. Present, ma'am.
What's your name?
My name?
Because login is from Chandrika.
Ji, Chandrika Prasad Gupta. It's my name.
Okay, okay. Sorry.
Hmm.
Ranjita. Ranjita.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Archana ji, I saw you. Ritesh.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
No. Jay.
Yes, ma'am.
Kamal.
Yes, ma'am.
Jyotsna. And Shilpi.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let me take the screenshots first. Hanji. Now kindly switch on your videos for a minute. Thank you. Thank you. Kamal, Ranjita. Yes, thank you so much. One more second. Thank you. Hanji. So, we are going to start with the unit 9. 8 units we have already finished, and today we would be starting with the unit 9, that is decentralized management. In the previous units also, we have discussed centralization and decentralization. So, any one of you can tell me what would be the meaning of decentralized management? Just the meaning of this term.
Yes, madam. It's delegation of responsibilities and power to the underdown hierarchy to
Mm-hmm.
get it completed at a setting time.
Yes, yes, absolutely right. Decentralization in education involves redistributing authority from a central governing body like a Ministry of Department of Education to the local levels such as districts, provinces, or even individual schools. So we are redistributing duties and authorities from a central point to the other departments. In a centralized system, most decision making and management functions are controlled by the central government, including policy making, funding, and teacher management. So, three major responsibilities like policy formulation, process of policy implementation, then financial decisions, and teacher management. Everything is taken by, controlled by centralized system under the centralized management. Local officials may have limited autonomy for day-to-day operations but lack the freedom for the significant initiatives. Okay. Next, on the contrary, decentralization empowers local entities with substantial decision-making powers with some oversight from the central government. They will keep an eye on the local bodies, but ultimate decision making would be assigned to the local entities. This can range from regions down to the individual schools, allowing for more tailored approaches to education that consider local needs and contexts. In reality, many education systems exhibit a mix of centralized and decentralized elements because both the system have their own uh, pros and cons. So they would have to go for the mixed approach. Partial decentralization means when some powers remain with the center and others are devolved to the local levels. Next, understanding how decentralization operates within education management is very crucial for effective policy implementation and improving educational outcomes. Now we are going to discuss decentralization of education in India. pre-independence period, that is colonial period. Decentralization involves transferring authority from the central government to the local and intermediate levels, including communities and the private sector. Here we are talking about the pre-independence period. It required political representation, fiscal devolution, and administrative capacity building. Decentralization planning at lower levels help bridge the gap between planning and implementation, ensuring local needs are met effectively and increasingly the chances of successful plan execution. Whenever we talk about decentralization, there are certain factors which needs to be considered. See, when a central authority is allocating duty to the local levels, there need to have a proper expertise over the content when we are allocating some duty to the local level. The colonial rulers did not take much interest for the education of people of our country. During Lord Ripon's era, local self-government emerged, focusing on political and popular education. The Indian Education Commission of 1882 highlighted the responsibility of local bodies in funding primary education. So their main concern was the funding of primary education, which was supported by Lord Mayo's circular. Lord Curzon and subsequent commissions emphasized expanding primary education and the literacy level of the country. However, the Hartog Committee of 1929, they criticized local bodies' management of education, leading to the withdrawal of their powers by some provinces like Bombay and Assam. The Sargent Commission suggested setting up school boards nominated by the State Education Department to maintain local interest in education while retaining control over the teacher related matters. You may be asked in the exam that you have to give a write up on the pre independence period on the topic of decentralization of education system. So you can add these points about these committees in that introductory part. Next, we come to the post-independence period. That what happened after independence, what kind of decisions were taken, what bodies, supporting body came into existence for the decentralization of educational management. The very first thing which came after post-independence period, uh, BG Care Committee report, the Central Advisory Board of Education that you all of you know that came. It established a committee chaired by Mr. Kher in 1951 to assess the relationship between state governments and local bodies regarding the administration of the primary education. The committee reports submitted 3 years later, that means 1951 में ये start की गई थी, तो 1954 में इसकी report आई. They strongly advocated for the involvement of the local bodies in primary education administration. Right? उनकी recommendation थी कि जो local people है, local bodies है, they have to be there in the decision making policies of the primary education administration. Its recommendations including associating municipalities with primary schools in their area and then requiring them to contribute financially, granting varying levels of authority to municipalities based on their contributions and administrative efficiency. It implementing a two-tier system in the rural areas with village panchayats overseeing individual or groups of individuals involving local residents in school administration. Two levels were there, village panchayat and the local residents through village panchayat or ad hoc committees, establishing school boards at district level for effective oversight and ensuring provisions for the appointment and responsibilities of elite educational bodies in area where local bodies are involved in the primary education administration. यानी कि इस पूरे पैराग्राफ में ये बताया गया है कि एडवोकेट किया गया था कि लोकल बॉडीज को इन्वॉल्व किया जाए और ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ दैट रिकमेंडेशन टू टायर सिस्टम दे अप्रोच्ड, first with the help of village panchayat and second with the help of school boards at the district levels. Next, Balwant Rai Mehta committee report. This committee was established in 1957 and they aimed to evaluate community projects. See, you have to remember the keywords of different committees. जैसे हमने इससे पहले जो कमेटी की है उनका जो मेन फोकस था दैट वाज ऑन द प्राइमरी एजुकेशन एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन. अब जो सेकंड हम कर रहे हैं दैट इज बलवंत राय मेहता कमेटी. इसमें दे एम्ड टू इवैल्यूएट कम्युनिटी प्रोजेक्ट्स and propose grassroots measures. It also advocated a three-tier organizational structure of democratic decentralization comprising village panchayats, block level panchayats, smitis and district level jila parishads. ठीक है? The committee viewed the block as a suitable administrative unit with the Jila Parishad serving as a coordinating body. They were supposed to coordinate with this committee. It recommended assigning the responsibility of maintaining primary schools to Panchayati Samitis at the block level. The advantages of using the block as the primary administrative unit, including facilitating school construction, organizing school supervision, and equipment distribution. Next, enforcing compulsory education, fostering local initiative, and coordinating school building construction through block advisory committees. So these are the certain kinds of duties which were taken up by Jila Parishads. Next committee is Ashok Mehta Committee report. It was established in 1978 and they proposed two approaches to involve people in local decision making: administrative decentralization and entrusting control to local bodies for effective development program implementation. Then it recommended a three-tier system. इसमें भी उसी approach को use किया गया था of decentralized management consisting of village panchayat, panchayat samiti and jila parishad at the village level, at the block level and at the district level. So this was the recommendation of Ashok Mehta committee report. Next, continuing the Ashok Mehta committee report, they suggested placing the entire education structure under the Jila Parishad with primary, middle and high schools falling under the respective tiers. This reflects a long-standing concept of participatory planning in India. Participatory planning, where all the stakeholders are involved in the planning process. In 1993, the government passed constitutional reforms formalizing a third tier of government at the sub-state level through the 73rd Amendment known as Panchayati Raj. However, the process of decentralization in India has been variable, ranging from ambitious attempts at village self-rule to political re-centralization, leading to uncertainty about the powers of panchayat in relation to states and the user groups. This trend mirrors global movement toward decentralization as a dominant political trend aimed at enhancing public policy effectiveness through localized administration and the locally elected bodies. Next, we come to the most important policy of our Indian history, that is National Policy of Education. इसमें भी बात की गई थी decentralization की, and later on revised POA, that was Program of Action 1992 में जो लिया गया था, उसमें भी हमने decentralization पे कुछ decisions लिए थे. Now I'm going to read that. Part 10th of New Education Policy, it focuses on the management of education. It proposes the creation of district boards of education to oversee education up to the higher secondary level. ठीक है? District Board of Education की जो बात की गई थी, it was proposed by this policy with the state governments tasked to expedite this process. A multi-level framework involving central, state, district and local agencies is also for planning, coordination, monitoring and evaluation. So major four tasks, that is planning, coordinate karna, monitoring, supervision and later on evaluation. Special emphasis is placed on selecting and training competent heads of the educational इंस्टीट्यूशन। जैसे मैंने आपको पहले बताया है कि जो जब भी हम डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन की बात करते हैं, ड्यूटीज एलोकेट करने की बात करते हैं, तो सबसे पहला जो मेजर टास्क होगा वो ये होगा कि जिन हेड्स को हम टीम लीडर्स बना रहे हैं, दे शुड बी कॉम्पिटेंट इनफ। सो NPE में major emphasis was given on this thing. School complexes are to be promoted in a flexible manner to serve as network of institutions, fostering professionalism among the teachers, adherence to conduct norms, and then facilitating the sharing of experiences and resources. The policy also underscores the significant role of local communities through appropriate bodies in driving school improvement programs. ठीक है, अब जो हमने जो बात की है प्री इंडिपेंडेंस और पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस में, वी टॉक्ड अबाउट डिफरेंट कमिटीज। नाउ इस यूनिट में जो मेजर क्वेश्चन आपका एग्जामिनेशन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से बनता है, वन वुड बी द यू नीड टू राइट अबाउट द डिफरेंट कमिटीज एंड यू मे बी आस्क्ड टू राइट अबाउट द challenges and problem faced by government related to decentralization in our country. So that we would be discussing at the end of the lecture. Now I'm coming to the next point, next heading, role and functions of village education committees. Village Education Committee, as you all know, VECs were established following the 1986 national policy aiming to involve representatives from the various sectors in managing educational programs at the village level. State governments were tasked with defining guidelines. They were supposed to define the guidelines कि आपने काम करना कैसे है, ठीक है, और जो एक्चुअल इम्प्लीमेंटेशन ऑफ द प्लान है, जो एक्चुअल काम होना है, दैट वुड बी डन एट द लेवल ऑफ विलेज एजुकेशन committees. It would be ensuring accountability for village level institution heads. The 1992 program of action emphasized the VEC's role in micro level planning. Hanji, anyone in the class, can you differentiate between micro level planning and macro level planning? Yes, please.
Ma'am, macro level planning will emphasize on the overall goal of the policy, which is affecting the population on a larger scale, and micro level will be focusing on a specific area or maybe a village or a town where the community based education is to be focused. The type of education level of that particular area, community approaches, population size, number of children who are in primary school or the secondary school, and many other things like reaching the destination, infrastructure, financial implication, and so on.
Very right. Thank you so much, Archana ji. Micro would be taking care of the smaller level, but macro would be considering a holistic view, and an area of study would be quite large. Then POA emphasized the VEC's role in micro level planning, school mapping and community awareness. So ये जो तीन मेन टास्क दिए गए थे VECs को, कि एक तो इन्होंने माइक्रो लेवल की प्लानिंग करनी है, they have to make people aware about the different plans of the government, and functions including fostering teacher development, which would be including the workshops and programs conducted for the professional development of teachers, then community partnership and overseeing school operation. Community partnerships we may be talked about the NGOs also who are coming forward to help for such initiatives. Right? The CAPE committee envisions VECs with financial and administrative authority, including powers such as school visits, attendance monitoring, budget recommendations, and building maintenance. However, VEC structures, powers, and functions vary among states, with difference observed, for instance, between Maharashtra and Haryana. So these two states were taking care of these things, and constitutional status to the local bodies under 73rd and 74th Amendment Acts was done. The revival of Panchayati Raj institutions through the 73rd and 74th constitutional amendments in 1992, it marked significant steps in the democratic decentralization. So you need to memorize this point that 73rd and 74th constitutional amendment was there to mark significant steps in the democratic decentralization. If you are asked in the paper about this concept, the 73rd Amendment enabled states to establish a three-tier system of local governance at the village, intermediate, and district levels. While what was the difference between 73rd and 74th? While the 74th Amendment empowered state governments to constitute urban local bodies. These amendments mandated the devolution of educational management to Panchayati Raj bodies with flexibility for states to adapt to local socio-cultural contexts. The Central Advisory Board of Education, it formed a committee to provide guidelines on the decentralized education management, emphasizing the role and functions of village panchayats, panchayat smitis, and Jilla parishads. The amendments also mandated adequate representation of women, scheduled caste, and scheduled tribes in these bodies. The 11th schedule of the Constitution entrusted panchayats with responsibilities including education, technical training, adult education, and cultural activities. So this was the way how they redistributed the duties to these levels. State legislation subsequently established elected local government structures, initiating decentralization efforts in the education, health, and infrastructure planning and administration at the district and sub-district levels in rural and urban areas. Following these amendments, the CAPE Committee on Decentralized Management of Education, they also emphasized on the importance of democratic decentralization in ensuring responsive and adaptable development planning at the regional level and at the local levels. At two levels, these were studied, and it highlighted the role of community participation in developmental programs, acknowledging their better understanding of the local needs. So that was the main reason community was involved in the planning in certain duties, because they were more aware about the local needs of that particular area. The committee consisted the village education committee with powers such as school visits, attendance monitoring, budget recommendations, and building maintenance. While primary education was initially under local self-government during Lord Ripon's area, subsequent committees like Khair, Balwant Rai Mehta, which we have already discussed, and Ashok Mehta, they advocated for its inclusion under the Panchayati Raj bodies. After the 73rd and 74th constitutional amendments, the CAPE Committee recommended delineating the powers and functions of panchayats regarding school education. Now we come to the next part, which is community mobilization and participation. Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan in India, it aimed to decentralize education planning, shifting decision making to the district, block, and village levels. DPEP focused on raising achievement levels through grassroots involvement and comprehensive training also. Community participation was key, evident in initiatives like Lok Jumbish and Shiksha Karmi project, which empowered local representatives and formed village education committees, that is VECs. Now we are talking about the community mobilization, that how resources available in the communities are being mobilized, and there is a sense of participatory thing in the initiatives taken up by the government. It emphasized women empowerment and VEC involved in school matters, while as it established VECs to mobilize resources and determine school policies. These projects showcase the impact of community engagement in addressing educational challenges and could serve as a model for other programs globally. Efforts in adult and non-formal education have also progressed well, focusing on reaching unreached population and fostering community involvement. Education is seen as a people's movement, with emphasis on effective management structures and holistic approaches which are linking to the various educational sectors. Next, programs aligned with the national priorities like health, environment, and life skills. Three programs were there which were there for the national priorities. So, collaboration between the departments and community participation were central, with local self government bodies playing a major role in the planning and management. Mobilizing civil society is crucial for the basic education programs, with literacy campaigns leading the way and plans to implement other initiatives also with the help of different kinds of NGOs. So, this was the major role of NGOs, that they were coming forward to help out in the various initiatives of the government, and this was taken up as the community participation. Now we have finished with the unit 9 in your study material, and I have a question to give you for which you have to write the points. Just hold on. Yes, kindly write down the question. There are two questions. The very first question, which would be asked in the examination and which is very important, would be how, write down, how does decentralization, how does decentralization affect educational management? ठीक है, किस तरीके से अफेक्ट करती है? और नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन है, what are the problems and challenges, what are the problems and challenges of decentralization in India? You have to write specifically about our own country, that in case we decentralized authority, we decentralized and delocate the duties and responsibilities, what problems and challenges might come up for that. So second question is, what are the problems and challenges of decentralization in India? And first question was, how does decentralization affect educational management? Have you noted down both the questions?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now you need to write few points, do some brainstorming and jot down the points. And after 20 minutes at 12 o'clock, we would be discussing this. And after that, I would be starting unit 10. Okay. Start writing points and then we'll discuss it. Hanji, have you written the points? Should we start with the next unit? Yes. Am I audible to you? Should I start with the unit 10? Kindly acknowledge. Okay. The questions which I have given to you to write down the points that we'll discuss in the end, right? Unit 10. Unit 10 जो है that is related to the district and sub-district management. Unit 9 was related to the decentralization thing. So we are going to discuss the role and functions of district and sub-district management. ठीक है? इसमें जो फर्स्ट सबसे पहले जो आ रही है चीज दैट इज रिलेटेड टू द डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल एजुकेशनल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन. Article 45 of the Directive Principles of State Policy, it aimed at free and compulsory education for all since independence, but enrollment rates remained low until the 1980s. ठीक है. 45 आर्टिकल में ये कहा गया था that free and compulsory education would be provided, but enrollment rates were comparatively very low till 1980. Decentralization gained traction with the Planning Commission, identifying district as the viable planning units in 1980. इसीलिए ये डिसाइड किया गया था कि एजुकेशनल मैनेजमेंट एजुकेशन को डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल पे एलोकेट किया जाए, डिसेंट्रलाइज किया जाए, सो दैट इनरोलमेंट रेट जो है वो इंक्रीज की जाए. नेशनल पॉलिसी ऑन एजुकेशन 1986 एंड प्रोग्राम ऑफ एक्शन 1980 to 92, it emphasized decentralization with the CARE committee stressing integration with Panchayat Raj institution. So at this point of time, they emphasized on the decentralization. How? By integrating with the Panchayat Raj institutions. DPEP 1993, it aimed to implement decentralized planning with wider participation. The Working Group on Elementary Education 1992, they advocated for district level planning, categorizing districts based on literacy and educational advancement. District level planning was deemed crucial for local specific strategies and community participation through Panchayati Raj, Village Education Council and NGOs. ये जो points मैं read कर रही हूँ, these 4 points we have already discussed in the previous units also. So this was the main purpose of decentralization, and for that reason they try to integrate with the Panchayati Raj institutions. Now we will talk about existing pattern of district level educational administration. Under existing pattern of district level educational administration, the NEP in 1986, they recommended the establishment of district boards of education, that is known as DBE, District Boards of Education, to coordinate educational administration at the district level, but they have not been implemented yet. Currently, what is happening? Most states have a state level advisory board, and they cover primary, secondary, and higher education across all the districts. For instance, the Advisory Board of Education in Gujarat, it comprises various bodies as outlined in the figure. One figure has been given in your study material, which is explaining that how Gujarat is taking care of the educational department and how they follow the principle of decentralization by dividing duties into the different boards. Like I'm reading few of them, like they have Gujarat Secondary Education Board, Gujarat SSC Exam Board, Gujarat State Unit of Science Education, Gujarat State Board of School Textbook. So for all the departments and all the different areas, they have different bodies who are taking care of those responsibilities. So this is existing pattern of district level educational administration. Besides that, the Director of Education's responsibilities, it include advising the Education Minister. They are supposed to give advice to Education Minister related to the different policies, disseminating educational policy, how to disseminate the information about the educational policy to the grassroots levels. Next, managing the state's education system, planning and implementing educational schemes, different schemes and initiatives started by the government. Their planning and their implementation is also coming under the same head. Providing legislative assembly formation, overseeing institution budget. Budget means they have to take care of the resources also. Resolving financial disputes. If there are any clashes or disputes among the different departments, to resolve that. Inspecting educational institution. It talks about the inspection of the quality and quality of the educational institution. They have certain criteria on the basis of which they inspect the different institutions and give grades. Coordinating with the district education officer, that is DEOs, and inspectors. Supervising departmental officers, organizing teacher training programs, expanding educational institutions, managing college affiliations, and overseeing vocational basic adult education, research, and library activities. So, all these activities are coming under the heading of district level education administration. They have to take care of all these things. Next is administrative structure of primary education at district level under Jilla Parishad. The Jilla Parishad Standing Committee on Education is a diverse body which is comprised of 15 to 21 members, and they aimed at ensuring inclusive representation and effective decision making in educational matters within the district. Right? They ensure that there are inclusive representation and decision making should be effective enough. Its composition includes the chairman of the Jilla Parishad, representatives from the various social groups such as SC, ST, BC, and minorities, as well as representative from the NGOs and parent-teacher associations also. Additionally, there are two or more representatives from Panchayat Samiti and Panchayat Village Education Committees, reflecting grassroots involvement in educational governance. Other members include professionals from academic institutions such as principal from a college or a professor of education from a university or college, and the principal of the district institute of education and training, that is DITE. So they take educationists also in their decision making. They take advice from the professional experts also. A headmaster from a secondary complex, a representative of teachers, and a member secretary or chief education officer nominated by the Jilla Parishad. They complete the committee. So in this committee, you have seen that representatives of the societies are also there, and professionals from the different colleges, schools, and institutes are also there. Notably, at least one third of the committee's total membership must be women. Here, this point is to be noticed that one third committee's total membership must be women, ensuring gender diversity and equitable participation in educational decision making processes. So they take care of the gender diversity and equal participation also. Additionally, there are two or more representatives from Panchayat Samiti and Panchayat Village Education Committee, reflecting grassroots involvement in the educational governance. Other members include professionals from the academic institutions. I think this content is repeated here. Yes, this is repeated. Now we come to the roles and function. First major role of Jilla Parishad is to overall supervision of the educational programs. The committee assumes the responsibility for overseeing all the educational programs within the district. They ensure their effective implementation and alignment with the educational objectives up to the secondary level. Next, planning and development. Planning and development में there are further 2 points. First is preparation and review of educational plan. Preparation is always done on the basis of the previous committees or previous plans. The committee is tasked with formulating comprehensive plans for the development of education in the district, covering aspects such as infrastructure, curriculum, and teacher training. Regular review processes are also conducted to assess the efficacy of these plans. So review is very important. Monitoring and supervision is also very important for the success of any plan. Formulation of programs for literacy and universal education. In line with broader educational goals, the committee devises strategies and programs which aimed at achieving total literacy and universal elementary education within the districts. So, whatever programs are made for the literacy and universal education in that particular district, it takes care of that. Next, academic supervision. When we talk about academic supervision, we are talking about the results and achievements also. The committee provides academic supervision to all the educational institutions with its jurisdiction, including government, aided, and private schools, as well as those managed by the municipalities, planning and development. Next, development planning and coordination. In collaboration with the relevant stakeholders, the committee prepares and coordinates plan for the development of education up to the secondary level. It also includes initiatives taken by the municipalities. Next is take care of the program implementation for quality enhancement. Now, there are different ways with the help of which we try to enhance the quality of the education system. So, the committee implements targeted programs and initiatives which aimed at improving the quality of education within the district, addressing areas as curriculum enrichment, ठीक है, quality enhancement के जितने भी method होते हैं, they take care of that thing. Curriculum enrichment, teacher training, workshops, conferences, and infrastructural upgrades. So these are the different factors that affect the quality of educational management. Next, coordination with social service department. One more duty of Zilla Parishad is to enhance the impact of educational efforts. The committee collaborates with other social service departments and committees, fostering mutual support and synergy in addressing educational challenges. By organizing the role and functions into distinct headings and subheadings, the comprehensive nature of the committee's responsibilities become clearer, facilitating efficient governance and decision making in the realm of education within the district. Now we talk about Zilla Parishad powers. Okay? What are the powers of Zilla Parishad? Number one, establishment and maintenance of schools. The committee holds the authority to establish and maintain schools up to the secondary level. This includes tasks such as recruitment, appointment, and transfer of the staff, as well as ensuring the timely payment of the salaries also. All actions are carried out in accordance with the government guidelines. जो भी किया जाता है, they are strictly in accordance with the government guidelines and protocols. Control and academic supervision. The committee exercises control and academic supervision over all schools within its jurisdiction, including aided and private institutions up to the secondary level. This oversight ensures adherence to the educational standards and policies outlined by the government. So, after this, next part is setting norms and rules for the educational institution. See, to promote effective functioning, the rules are mandatory, norms are mandatory. The committee lays down academic and administrative norms for educational institutions. These norms serve as guidelines for the schools to follow, contributing to the enhancement of educational quality and efficiency. Next is disbursement of grants. The committee is also responsible for distributing grants to the aided schools adhering to the government guidelines. These grants provide financial support to the aided institutions, facilitating their operations and their development. Next, supervision of education committees. Now, Zilla Parishad Committee, it supervises the work of Panchayat Samiti education committees. and Panchayat Education Committees also. This oversight ensures alignment with the broader educational objectives and facilitates effective collaboration in educational initiatives. Next is budget preparation and administration. The committee also prepares and sanctions the educational budget. It allocates funds for the various educational programs and initiatives. Additionally, it administers the district educational funding, managing financial resources to support educational endeavors within the district. Perspective planning. In line with the long term educational goals, the committee also prepares a perspective plan for the district. This plan outlines strategic objectives and initiatives to guide educational development and improvement over the time. Next, proposal of resource mobilization measures. The committee proposes measures including the cess surcharge and taxes to mobilize additional resources for the education system. It also measures aim to secure funding for educational initiatives and infrastructure projects, ensuring sustained progress and the development. So, by delineating the powers into distinct categories, the scope of Jilla Parishad Committee authority and responsibility becomes quite clearer, facilitating effective governance and decision making in the realm of education within the districts. Uh, After discussing their powers, now we come to the duties of education officer. Administrative duties. Number one, school visits. Education officers are tasked with the visiting schools to ensure compliance with the relevant laws and regulations. Second responsibility, major responsibility is the correspondence and communication. They handle correspondence and communication related to the director's order as well as dispersal of the grants and aids. Next, dispute resolution. Education officer also mediate and settle disputes between teachers and management within educational institution. It has also an advisory role. So in that case, education officer provide advice to their assistants and the school management on the various matters related to educational administration and management. Next major role or duty of education officer is to integrate it related to the integrating functions. The very first thing under this is attendance at the meetings. They attend meetings of various state boards to establish relations and foster collaboration among the different educational entities within their jurisdiction. Next duty of education officer is statistical duty, which is related to the data collection and analysis. Education officers are responsible for collecting and analyzing educational statistics from schools, providing valuable insights for decision making and policy formulation. Next duty is departmental task. Under departmental task, staff appointments. They oversees the appointment of the government school teachers and clerks, ensuring proper staffing with educational institutions. Handling personal matters. Education officers handle cases related to the transfer, leave, promotion, and other personal issues of the government teachers and clerks. So all these duties are coming under the head of departmental task. Next is academic duty, curricular and co-curricular guidance. Education officer guides schools in developing and implementing their entire program of curricular and co-curricular activities, ensuring a well-rounded educational experience for the students. Improvement of educational standards. They work towards enhancing the standard of education within the state through various initiatives and interventions aimed at academic excellence. So they do consider about the different steps which can be taken to uplift the educational standards. Public relations, establishing context. When we talk about public relation, it means education officer, they act as a bridge between the public and the administration. and it fosters a communication and engagement between the educational institutions and the broader community. Next topic under the same unit is District Primary Education Program, that is DPEP. This program was initiated in 1993 and it was a significant steps toward the operationalizing district level planning in alignment with India's 8th five-year plan. Unlike previous approaches, the DPEP emphasized local area planning. Local area planning means it allows district to formulate their own plans independently rather than deriving them from a state level project document. Drawing from the successful projects with overseas assistance, such as the Andhra Pradesh Primary Education Project and Shiksha Karmi Initiative, the DPEP focused on teacher training, child centered learning, and infrastructural improvement. Key elements including community participation, holistic approach, networking between the districts, states, and national institutions, capacity building, and a focus on the marginalized groups, particularly girls and women. Initially targeting 250 educationally backward districts with low female literacy rates, the DPEP expanded its scope to cover upper primary schools also. It aimed to decentralize primary education, allowing districts to develop local specific plans and programs. Districts receive funds based on their projected requirements. It means they had to give a proposal related to their requirements and then had the authority to decide on the program implementation and financial allocation. The goal of DPEP, along with the subsequent Sarv Abhiyan, was to achieve universal access to primary education, either through formal schooling or non formal educational programs, and to reduce dropout rates. So, this was the main goal of DPEP. Now, what this organization did, what efforts it did to achieve their goals, to achieve their objectives, DPEP focused on reducing overall primary dropout rates to less than 10% and improving the quality of education through enhanced teaching learning activities and capacity building efforts at various levels of the education system, whether it is primary, secondary, higher, or college education. It aimed to overhaul the primary education system in India by operationalizing strategies for achieving universal elementary education through district specific planning and disaggregated target setting. Unlike previous approaches, DPEP took a holistic view of primary education, it emphasizing the decentralized management, community mobilization, and context specific planning based on research inputs. Overall, the DPEP represented a significant shift towards more comprehensive and localized approaches to primary education reforms in the India. Right? I hope this much is clear to you. In today's both the units, we have discussed the roles and responsibilities of the different departments, their powers, and their efforts towards achieving their goals. The district primary education program was designed with several key objectives. Number one, reduction of disparities. Number two, universal education to the education, universal access to the education. And third, dropout rate reduction. So, reduce differences in enrollment, dropout rates, and learning achievement among gender and social groups to the less than 5%. Ensure that all children have access to primary education, whether through formal schooling or non formal education programs, and dropout rate reduction, decrease the overall primary dropout rates for all the students to less than 10%. Next major objective of DPEP was to improving of the learning outcomes. So under this, it tried to enhance average achievement levels by at least 25% over the baseline measurements. This includes ensuring basic literacy and numeracy competencies and achieving a minimum of 40% competency levels in other areas for all primary school children. Financial support and resource allocation is next objective. Provide financial support for the programs with the Government of India financing 85% of the project costs as a grant to the DPEP state implementation societies and the respective state governments contributing the remaining amount. External funding sources include credits approved by international bodies like the International Development Association, which is known as IDA, grants from the Overseas Development Administration, ODA of the UK, and the contributions from the Netherlands. So these were the objectives of DPEP. Besides this, the implementation of DPEP has occurred in phases across different states in India. It covered a total of 122 districts. During its implementation, the program has achieved significant milestones. Now, we would be talking about the significant milestones they have achieved. Number one, project management structures. That means establishment of project management structures at district, state, and national levels to ensure effective implementation. Micro planning, creation of an environment and capacity for micro planning to address specific local educational needs. Pedagogical innovations, undertaking pedagogical innovations to improve teaching and learning processes in the classrooms. Institutional development, under this they try to develop a responsive institutional basis involving both government and non-government entities. Community participation, enhancement of community participation in educational initiatives, focus on the marginalized groups also, strengthening efforts to cater to special focus groups such as tribal, scheduled caste, women, and other marginalized sections. So initial impact studies have shown positive trends indicating that DPEP has contributed significantly to increasing enrollment, reducing repetition rates, and enhancing classroom processes. The program's first phase is currently undergoing evaluation to assess its effectiveness comprehensively. Now we come to the teacher training under DPEP, that how DPEP creates initiative or put efforts to enhance teachers training, whether they are pre-service or they are in-service teachers. Under the district primary education program, significant emphasis was placed on improving the quality of education through comprehensive teacher training initiatives. The methodology employed for teacher training aimed at decentralization. Number one, participatory approaches, the use of creative resource materials, and interactive teaching methodologies. This approach sought to empower teachers with the necessary skills and knowledge to enhance their teaching practice effectively. So, all of you know that professional development of the teacher is a very crucial factor for the quality improvement in education system. So for that reason they try to put their different approaches like participatory approach and interactive teaching methodology where there are no passive listeners and proper interactive classrooms are organized. As a result, block resource center and cluster resource centers were established to facilitate teacher training and support. The objectives set for block resource centers and cluster resource centers under the DPEP programs are as follows. They set certain objectives for the same purpose. Number one, close proximity to teachers' needs. They aim to be situated close to the real life situations of the teachers to effectively monitor their felt needs. This proximity enables better understanding and responsiveness to the challenges faced by the teachers in their daily teaching practices. enhanced access to academic resources. These centers also provide easier access to the academic resources for teachers, ensuring that they have the necessary material and support to deliver quality education in the classrooms. Next, when we talk about academic resources, it includes everything like online resources also, online libraries also. So it makes sure that teachers are getting the access to all these resources. The objective set for next is increased teacher participation and motivation. To increase the participation of teachers in professional development activities, thereby enhancing their motivation to improve teaching practices and student outcome. So it was uh, initiated by this DPEP that teachers are actually willing to participate in their professional development programs, and no administration or authorities are creating hindrances in their professional development. District and grassroots linkages. These centers function as links between district level educational management system and grassroots level educational practices. They also facilitate monitoring and feedback mechanism that ensure alignment with the broader educational objectives while addressing local needs effectively. So they also focused on the monitoring and feedback system, because without monitoring and feedback mechanism, we are not going to get any fruitful results, and we are not going to know about the loopholes of the existing program. I hope this much is clear to you. Yes, students, are you there? Yes. Yes. Am I audible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So we are about to finish this unit. In essence, the overarching goal of DPEP is to improve the quality of education. To achieve this goal, interventions are focused on the several key areas. Number one, pedagogic vision. So they focused on the promoting an active and child-centered classroom approach that fosters student engagement and participation in the learning process. Number two, in-service teacher training. Even after joining the job, developing participatory and experimental in service training programs that address classroom challenges and enhance teaching effectiveness. Development of teaching learning material that are teaching aids, creating activity oriented teaching learning material, including textbooks, to support the achievement of minimum level of learning MLLs among the students. Capacity building of academic support structures, strengthening and capacity building of existing state and district level academic support institutions such as State Council of Educational Research and Training SCRT and diet, as well as establishing sub-district structures like block resource clusters and CRCs to provide on-site support to the teachers. Next is to bolster the pedagogical renewal process. There is a concerted effort to enhance and fortify existing academic support resource institutes at both the state and the district levels. So these institutes were established, which are known as academic support resource institutes, such as the SCRT and DIET. Additionally, there is a focus on establishing sub-district structures like block and cluster resource institutions, which serve as on-site support hubs for the teachers. These resource institutions operate in coordination with each other to conduct capacity building exercises for the teaching community as illustrated below. So one diagram has been given under in your study material, and you'll able to understand this in a very easy manner, because a tabular representation is there related to the name of the institution and their powers and duties. Have you received your study material, students?
No, ma'am. No,
No, no study material is with you.
no, no.
No, ma'am.
Okay. So every diagram or tabular representation is there so that it would be easier for you to retain that information, right? Okay, Ji. With this, we finish our unit 10, right? Now only 2 units are left, which would be finished tomorrow in tomorrow's last class. Now we come to the discussion part. Kindly take out those questions and points. Okay, no problem, Ranjita ji. No problem. You need not to switch on your videos. If you want to discuss, you can just unmute yourself and discuss the points. So I would be starting with I would be taking attendance also because few of the students have joined late. Let me take your attendance. Anyone who has joined late, let me just check. Okay, I think only these students were there. Hanji. So Shilpi, are you there? I have given you 2 questions to discuss in the end. Have you written some points, Shilpi?
Yes, ma'am, sure.
जी बताइए. Yes, Shilpi, you are not audible. Kindly unmute yourself. Shilpi, you are not audible. Okay, by the time Shilpi settles down, Kamal, what have you written? Kindly discuss your points.
Ma'am, I have written few points.
Mm-hmm.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, you are audible.
Ma'am, I think decentralization has positive effect on the educational management.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, it provides flexibility to the administration and also improves decision making. And what is important that power is shared among the different type of administrators, so it can give the positive results to the any school or any institution.
Mm-hmm.
And I have also written some challenges which is facing education system of India. The first is lack of awareness. For example, if we include village education committees, school management committees in education system, but the members are not aware about the different type of policies as well as programs because they are illiterate and sometimes they have no interest in the education of the system of their school system, education system or the school system. And the another point is there is lack of adequate financial resources. And what is important over here, there is a lack of proper coordination between the higher authorities and the lower ones who are working at the ground level. As I have worked in the field of education and I have researched in the field of education, in elementary education, and I have observed that many school management committees as well as the teachers are have a concern that the people who are sitting at highest position, they are not aware about the ground realities.
Very right. Thank you, Kamal.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Hanji, who's next? Ranjita ji is traveling, Ritesh ji is traveling, and next we have Shilpi was not audible. Archana ji, you have written some points.
Yes, ma'am, I have.
Ji.
I have written that the decentralization act policy making itself is a very slow process,
Hmm.
and it takes time.
Yes.
But once the policies are well planned and implemented, they programs to they have to be well planned and well implemented. They
Mm-hmm.
have to be target oriented, and when these things take place, they provide greater stability to the local units of education, say village level, Jilla, Parishad, and everyone. And
Mm-hmm.
it also improves the democratization of the and the economic development of that particular area.
Hmm.
Whereas it also increases efficiency at the local level. They are more focused on local priorities, and it has cost recovery. When I say cost recovery, it means that some of the burden of the state or
Hmm.
the district is shared by the local bodies, and that way it can improve greater efficiency and greater contribution in the education management system.
Hmm. Very right. Thank you so much, Archana ji. Next, Mahima. Mahima, discuss your points.
Yeah.
I would say those who are traveling, Ritesh ji and Ranjita, kindly share your points in the chat box if you can't unmute yourself. And Mahima ji, now it's your turn.
Decentralization in education management, it can improve accountability. Like teachers can participate in school management. It will improve improve students' needs and priorities, as they can discuss with parents to how to they can take feedback from parents
Hmm.
and better student achievement. जैसे students can uh, improve in their educational.
Hmm. Human, you are telling about the impact of decentralization. And if I ask you challenges and problems of decentralization in India, just give me the headings. What could be the challenges in our country?
Mm,
Problems.
Problems can be dominance of local bodies, like they can dominate just more powerful people can dominate local bodies, as they are as we give power to them, they will
Hmm.
show their power to other local bodies, and they can use for their benefits.
Very right. Okay. Here, Rava. This point is
Uh,
okay. Next.
uh, they can they can implement law and policies according to them only.
Hmm.
They're for the
Okay.
same as for their benefits only.
Okay. Okay. You are talking about the misuse of their powers, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. ठीक है. Hanji, who is left now? Jyotsna. Hanji. Jyotsna. Jyotsna, are you there? I think she is not able to listen to me. Chandrika ji. Chandrika
Yes,
ji.
ma'am.
जी.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, the first question था हमारा कि decentralization how it affects the educational management. So I
Hmm.
tried to find out some points from some sources. Then points are here.
Hmm.
First thing, madam, I think as per the points I find it that it improve the quality of the inputs to the school. Means
Mm-hmm.
schools may have some chances to put some points to the higher management that we required this much things to improve our strategy to improve our planning. So this
Hmm.
is the first positive impact of decentralization. And
Hmm.
the other thing is that it also increases the chances of innovativeness of the programs at the point level. Means where it is supposed to be implemented. At that point, the schools or the organizations are free to make some innovative plans or programs to reach the goal. And the second thing is that it also provides some allocations of resources at school level, that we
Hmm.
can change the resources as per our need, and we
Hmm.
can change the program for to match our requirement. These are some positive things, and it finally helpful for the local government as well as the central government. Both are get benefited by the decentralization. Means the center is planning to have a good implementation of the program. So they have liberal. They are if it is liberal at the point at which it is supposed to be run. So both get benefited. It is a win-win situation for both central government as well as local government. These are
Right.
some points in the first question.
Mm-hmm.
And the second challenges and of the decentralization in our country, the very much thing that we see that if local people are there, then it causes to have regionalism. Means at the region wise they have started to think and they just forget the national interest. At the very first failure of this plan is that, and we are just it goes to the hands of some elite people. Some people are more prominent at that decentralized level, so they are trying to manipulate the plans as to get benefited at their personal level. So this is a what we can say that not a welcome, not desirous point. So it happens generally. And second thing is that illiteracy. At the
Yes.
decentralized level, illiteracy is there. Many people are not aware about what the plan is there. So if some like in the panchayati system here, some plans comes to the our village, and some people originally they are knowing these things. So many other people, 99% people are not knowing what kind of program is implemented by the central government. So they is not interested to the that thing. They are not aware about the program. So this happens that illiterate people are very marginal. They are at the marginal side. Okay, so these are the things, and the second one is that some political parties and leaders they get their benefit, and the final one is, ma'am, human resources. Again, the
Yes.
dearth of the human resources, lack of the human resources are there. I think these are the some challenges we are facing still now in at any program.
Thank you so much, Chandrakati. All
Thank
the
you,
points
madam.
are good. Few points have
Okay.
been given by students who were not there in the like they are not able to unmute them. Ritesh ji has given one point that government policies get percolate well to the last beneficiaries, and it decentralization can improve accountability also. For that purpose, monitoring and supervision is the most crucial factor, because whenever we are allocating different funds to the local levels, it is very important to monitor those funds, right? Whether those funds are optimally utilized at the grassroots level or not. Okay. Next, Jyotna ji has given one point that lack of resources and finances at the village level. This is also a problem or challenge in the case of decentralization. Okay. Disadvantage is that too much of hierarchy in the decentralized environment can reduce the coordination. Very right. If there would be too much of decentralization and too big hierarchy is there, it would be a challenge to coordinate between the different levels and hence reduce the efficiency of decentralized way of working. Thank you so much. All these points are very right. Okay. So students, tomorrow we would be having a last class and we'll be finishing unit 11th and 12th, right? So we'll meet tomorrow at the same time, and tomorrow I would like to have your introduction also. It's been it's been our fifth class and I want to know you personally also. So we'll start with a brief intro of yours and then we'll start the class, or either way I can take your introduction at the end of the class also. Okay ji? Yes, students, are you there? Okay. So tomorrow when we'll meet, I would like to have your formal introduction. Where are you working? Why are you pursuing this course? And after that we'll finish our unit 11th and 12th. Right?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
okay. Okay, ji. Thank you so much. You may leave the class. Thank you.